Well, hello there. You know, I talked about the laws. Let's talk about what laws. You know, there's 7 different laws, and they're exact. They never change. There's really only one, and then these are 7 subsidiary laws. But the one law is God is. That's it. If you go to theology, that's what the theologian will tell you. In fact, that's all they can tell you is God is. Is neither created nor destroyed. Is a cause and effect of himself. Is 100% evenly present in all places at the same time. Is neither created nor destroyed. Pretty interesting. Now, of course, if you go to the scientist used to be, the science and religion used to be antagonistic, but I don't think they are anymore. I think one studies the cause and the other studies the effect. At least that's the conclusion I've arrived at. But they'll tell you energy is. Just, that's it. Energy is. That's all they can have. The engineer, the scientists, they don't even know what energy is beyond energy is. That's it. Energy is neither created nor destroyed, is the cause and effect of itself, is 100% evenly present in all places at the same time. Do you know what that would mean? That's what I am, energy. Oh, the theologian said, no, that's what you are, you're spirit. You're God's highest form of creation, as a matter of fact. Well, then there's these 7 subsidiary laws that dictate how everything's going to happen. Let's take a look at them. Number 1, the law of perpetual. And by the way, they don't come in any special order. You can mix these up, but they all. You couldn't talk about one without talking about the other. The one is the perpetual transmutation of energy. Do you know that energy is always moving into form, through form, and back into form? Now think about it. Energy is moving into form, through form, and back into form. It's always into form, through form, and back into form. You look up into the beautiful blue sky, and you know what you're going to see? You're going to see a puffy little white cloud formation start to form. And that puffy little white cloud formation starts to get to be gray, and then a darker gray, and then it gets very dark, and it may get almost black, and then wow, and out of it comes water. It's moving into form. Now, if you catch the water in a glass and stood there long enough, you know where it'd go, right back to where it came from. As above, so below. As below, so above. Constant evolution of change. Then we have the law of relativity. Nothing's big, nothing's small. You say, well, that costs a lot. Relative to what? See, it's only a lot relative to a little. It's only a little relative to a lot. Think about it. You could say, that was a big win. Compared to what? Well, compared to what I usually get. Everything's relative. Nothing's big, nothing's small. Think about this. You've got to relate it to things. It's the law of relativity. It's a marvelous law. Let's reduce everything to the ridiculous, then it'll be easy to do. Let's not look at any big problems. Let's turn them all into small problems. You get a big goal, break it into small parts. Then we have a law, it's a very, very important one called the law of vibration. And not a lot of people understand it. Do you know The Secret, the movie The Secret, was such a phenomenal runaway success. It's been reported 500 million people have been influenced by The Secret. But I think a lot of them have been sent down the wrong road because we never really explained the law of attraction. And attraction is what The Secret is all about. But understand, attraction is a secondary law. The primary law is the law of vibration. You can only attract what you're in harmonious vibration with. The law of vibration decrees everything moves, nothing rests. We literally live in an ocean of motion. And when we clearly understand that, we're going to be way ahead of the game. Do you know, everything moves. The walls around you are moving. Now, they appear to be still, but if you took and looked at them through a microscope, you'd see them moving right before your eyes. The body in a coffin is moving. Now, that may sound a little out of the box, but it's the truth. You see, if a body wasn't moving, how would it ever change to dust? Think of that. It doesn't just stay there the way it is. It moves. It continually moves. Everything moves. The law of vibration decrees we live in an ocean of motion. That brings up another theory, another concept, which there's no such thing as death. You know, since we understand the law of vibration, that only postulates one theory, the theory of life. You see, death is a transition. We move out of our body. Birth is the transition. We move into the body. So we move in, we move out. And now we joyous when we move in. How about when we move out? Should be the same deal. It's ignorance that's our problem. So we've got to understand this law of vibration. The desk that I'm sitting at is energy, and we call it wood. This paper is a sheet of paper. It used to be wood, and now it's paper. When I was a little kid, I lived in a lumber camp my dad worked in. I was only 3 or 4, but I can remember this. And we lived in a log cabin right near a railroad track. Whenever the train went by, the little cabin would shake. I remember bears would come up and look in the window. This was at Michipicoten Harbor, way up in northern Canada, in a pulp lumber camp. Well, I would see these trains go by with these huge, great big logs, and they told me they were going to make paper out of it. And I thought, how do you make paper out of a tree? Well, of course, that's exactly how it's done. It's pulpwood, and they alter the molecular structure of the tree, and they change it into something called paper. If you take water and boil it, you've caused the molecular structure of the energy we call water, and you turn it into steam. The steam turns into air, ether, or gas. So you see, everything vibrates, nothing rests. Everything vibrates. We want to understand that. Our body is a mass of energy. When it is in a very good vibration, we feel good. Feeling is conscious awareness of vibration. When you don't feel good, it's because you're in a bad vibration, and that is because you have a nasty idea in your mind. Change your thinking, and you change your vibration. You can change the way you feel. Then we have the law of polarity. Now, the law of polarity decrees everything as an opposite. You couldn't have an in without an out, or an up without a down, or a hot without a cold. Every positive has a negative, so every problem has an opportunity. Now, the truth is, there's no such thing as problems or opportunities. Everything just is. It's how we look at it. It is what it is. That's it. Now, if we see something bad, why don't we say, hold on a minute. It's my perception that's messed up here. If I stare at this long enough, I'm going to see what's good in it. There has to be good in it. You couldn't have an inside to a room without having an outside. Couldn't possibly have up without having down. That's just the law of polarity. It decrees everything has an opposite. I don't care what you look at, there's an opposite. You see something really good, it's also real bad. Now think of this. If it's only a short way up onto my desk, it's only a short way down off my desk. If it's a long way to the top, it's a long ways to the bottom. You can't have a long way up and a short way down. It doesn't work that way. They're equal and opposite. If it's very good, it's very bad. If it's very bad, it's very good. So you got a big problem, get excited. You got a big opportunity. Now you talk about the law of rhythm. I always say the Catholics understand that law better than the Protestants. But the law of rhythm is a law. We have a biorhythm. We go up and down. We live simultaneously on 3 planes. We're triune beings. We're spiritual, intellectual, and physical. Well, all 3 is on a rhythm cycle. And we have critical highs and critical lows. That's when all 3 parts of us are on a critical high, all 3 parts of us on a very low. Do you know there's airlines that will not let their pilots fly when they're on a critical low? They won't let them fly. They just ground them. You can have this charted. I have people come up and ask me questions sometimes. I know what they want to do. They want to chart my rhythm cycle. And I give them the dates and the things they want. But when they bring it to me, I don't pay any attention to it. I don't want to know that I'm on a low swing. I want to know that I am in control of me, and I don't care whether I'm on a low swing or a high swing. I don't even make it good, because I'm going to look for the good in it. So we understand that. There's that time of the month, you know. That's not just for the girls, that's for the boys too, because that is a rhythm cycle in life, and it affects all 3 parts. There's going to be parts when you're on a very high intellectually. You have a column of figures, boom, like that, you add them up. Another time you add up that column, you have to add it up 6 times, you get a different answer every time. You're on a low swing intellectually. There's sometimes when you're on a low swing emotionally. You walk down the street and nothing's going right. There's other days you walk down, you're skipping with the kids, you're singing with the birds, you're on a high. That's a rhythm process of life. Then we have cause and effect. I think it was Emerson, he said, Emerson said, the law of cause and effect is the law of laws. It's the law of laws. Everything has a cause and everything has an effect. Everything that happens to you, the happening is the effect. What causes it? We want to understand our attitude causes what kind of a day we have. If we have a bad attitude, we're going to have a bad day. We have a good attitude, we're going to have a good day. Cause and effect is a law of laws. Every cause has an effect. Now get this. Every effect then becomes a cause and sets up another effect. That's why we say there's a train of cause and effect, a train of causation. The more we understand this, the better off we're going to be. Then we have the law of gender. The law of gender decrees everything has both both male and female. And you couldn't have one without the other. You've got to have both to have anything. And the law of gender decrees that all seeds have gestation or an incubation period. I have a gold card in my pocket. I do. And that gold card has my goal written on it. But I know something. I'm guessing at the date. No one knows how long it takes to reach a goal. That is because the goal is an idea. An idea is a spiritual seed. If you plant a seed for a carrot around where I live, it takes approximately 70 days for that seed to bloom into a carrot. When a rose blooms, it takes a period of time for the rose is in full bloom. That's a gestation period. From the second the seed for the baby is planted, it takes approximately 280 days before the blessed thing happens. The baby is born. You see, every seed has a gestation or an incubation period. That's the law of gender. Now, I've just skipped over these. I would suggest you start to study them. And when you bring your life into harmony with them, everything in your world is going to start to change. I love to try and live by the law. Every day I give it the best I've got. Do I do it perfectly? No, because I'm not perfect yet, but I'm getting there. I'm moving in that direction. I want to suggest you do the same thing. Thank you.
Check us out at ProctorGallagherInstitute.com for tips, tools, and resources.